Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today we're gonna learn how I went from this to this. If you want to know how I achieved it, then keep on watching. Alright, complexion time, my favorite part of any makeup routine. Now, as per usual, I did my eyebrows off of camera, because today's going to be all about the skin, so let's jump right into this. Now, I am notorious for double priming the skin, so I like to go in with something super hydrating first. This is the MAC Natural Radiance Primer. It's going to really hydrate the skin, but it's also oil controlling. It is an oily girl's best friend. And I just literally smooth this on with my hands. Make sure to avoid those brows. Now for my second primer, I always like something that's super pore filling so you get a really super smooth complexion. And I believe this was in my holiday glam video too, but I love the Tarte Timeless. Still very well loved, but you don't need a lot of this. The littlest bit goes the super craziest long way. I take the teeniest little bit and I just kind of press this into areas where I have pores. Now, like I said, we're pressing it into the skin. We want to fill those pores up with this primer. I know I said I would just press that where I have pores, but that's kind of my whole face. Now, I'm really known for my complexion. It's always super smooth, full coverage without ever looking cakey. One of my favorite foundations that's super long wear and just does the job without looking heavy is the LANCOME Teint Idole foundation. They have so many shades, I guarantee you'll be able to find one for yourself. Right now, I used to be this one when I was tan over the summer, but now I'm kind of more in the direction of this. Instead of buying a shade in between, I always say, go with your darkest in the summer and whatever lightest you are in the winter and mix. Now my favorite means of application for foundation is the coveted Beauty Blender. There is nothing better than the real deal. I know that I do like the Morphe, I like the Real Techniques, but nothing compares to the original. I'm just going to mix those two shades on the back of my hand and blend. Like, do we see that coverage? Redness? Who is she? Like I said, stay away from them brows. I also like to take a little bit on my ears, kind of back here. You don't want this flawless, like, no redness, kind of like full coverage glam action going on, and then have like red ears. Next stop, highlight and contour. So I like to do this with creams beforehand because I feel like I can get a better blend with it and it looks a little bit more natural. So to do that, I'm going to use my concealer and then actually a foundation stick, both of which are from MAC. So I'm going to go in with the Studio Fix concealer in shade NW15, and then I'm also going to go in with the Studio Fix stick, and I'm actually going to use this in NW60, so it's super dark. I always like to place my contours first and then go in with my highlights. So I'm going to start with my stick here, and a little bit of this goes a super long way. So I'm just going to add a little bit there, a little bit here. We're going to trace the forehead. And then I'm just going to barely touch the nose on either side, like the tiniest bit. Now, I actually like blending this out with a brush, so I'm going to go in with my Smith 115 foundation brush, and I'm going to buff this out in an upwards motion. Now, it looks really dark at first, but Don't be scared. We're gonna go in with like some super bright highlights and blend it all together later. Girl, we're practically starting to shapeshift over here. Do you see how minimized this forehead is? Highlight time. So I'm going to go in with that MAC Studio Fix concealer and we're going to conceal. So I like to place it in almost like an upside down triangle underneath my eye. Just like that. Now I also like to place it in the center of my forehead, and I'm gonna pretty much do that same shape. And then down the bridge of the nose. And this part I'll actually blend in with my Beauty Blender. So now I want the under eyes to be just a smidge bit brighter, so I'm going to go in with the Morphe Pure White Concealer, and you do not need a lot of this, okay? Like, we're just going to, like, very inner corner underneath the eyes, we're just going to do, like, a little dot, just like that. We're going to do the same thing over here. And girl, that is all you need. So we're going to buff that in with that Beauty Blender. Bam! Now to set the underneath of the eye, Now to set the under eyes, I actually like to go in with a loose powder, so I'm going to go in with my Kylie Cosmetics. She's looking a little crusty, it's almost time for a replacement here. And I'm going to take my damp Beauty Blender and I'm going to go right into the powder, tap off the excess, and before the under eye creases, tap it out with our finger beforehand just in case. I'm just going to press that into the under eyes. Now for the rest of the face, I actually like to go in with powder foundation for longevity. Now I'm super oily, so I like to really use a super matte powder to really set everything. For that, I go in with MAC Studio Fix. This is, like I said, powder foundation. You do not need a lot. It's definitely going to bump up the coverage, is one. And it will kind of cover some of our contouring and highlighting that we did, so we're just going to do it lightly. Now I like to go in with like a medium to large powder brush. I'm going to swirl and pick up my product here. I'm not even home right now, and I'm still finding cat hair. Tap off that excess, and we're going to press this into the skin. Alright, now we are matched. We are set to the gods. So now we're going to go in with a little bit of bronze. We're going to warm up the complexion, reinforce this contour a little bit, and add a little glow. One of my favorite bronzing formulas is by MAC, and it's the Next to Nothing bronzing powders. Now this packaging was from their summer collection. I believe they might have this powder now permanent. I would have to actually double check the website now that I'm thinking about it. For bronzer, I like a big fluffy brush, but it does have a little bit of a taper to it, so that way we can like really kind of chisel these cheeks. Alright, we are a bronzed goddess now, so now it's time to add a little bit of blush. One of my absolute favorites is Peachykeen by MAC. It is a Sheertone shimmer, so it builds up beautifully on the cheek, and it has like the subtlest glow to it without being too heavy. I'm going to use a MAC 139 brush, tapered and perfect for the cheeks. It's a little dirty, don't mind that. Now for my blush placement, I start on the apple, but I kind of follow that contour and go right up the cheekbone in a circular motion. So if you were to stick to just the apple of the cheek, that's gonna re-round out all the features, and that's gonna like eliminate all the contouring that we just did. So if you start there, but kind of like work your way up a little bit, we're gonna keep everything nice and slim and fit. Alright, what do we think of that cheek color? Our skin's starting to get a little bit more glossy, a little bit more skin-like. Alright, one of my favorite parts about the complexion, highlight. So one of my more recent faves is by OFRA actually, and this is in Rodeo Drive, so it is going to be like a, it's gold. I was going to say white gold, but no girl, that is gold. I'm going to go in with my Sigma F03 little highlighting brush. I love her. Now she is pigmented, so when I pick up, I just kind of tap into it. I do not get crazy. Let's just now I place it right at the very high point of the cheek, kind of buff out in a little circular motion. You don't want to really go past the iris because then it just kind of starts to look greasy. You want it right on that high point there. Oh. That sheen though, it like looks wet. I like can't stop staring at myself. Next place I like to highlight is above the arch of each brow on the forehead. Next stop, bridge of the nose. And last but not least, the Cupid's bow. Alright, now this wouldn't be a complexion tutorial if we did not douse ourselves in some setting spray. Well, that is it for this foundation routine. I hope you like what you saw. Hopefully you learned something new. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace out.